Hey everyone, we're going to talk through some common mistakes today when you do hamstring stretches. I use the word mistake lightly, I suppose. It's not really a right or a wrong way to stretch. It massively depends on your body, your anatomy and any injuries, etc. So it's not gospel, but it's just some of the things that I tend to find help if you're not necessarily getting the best from the stretch. It could be things that you just need to alter slightly to make it work better for you. So first thing we're going to talk about, we're going to do everything stood up. We're going to show just kind of a general stood up hamstring stretch, and we're going to see how that goes. So one of the first things you tend to notice is when people stretch the hamstrings is they kind of curve through the upper back and they just kind of slouch this down. Now, this isn't too much of a problem with the general kind of curve through the back. You'll notice if you curve your back, you don't notice a massive difference in the hamstring. What tends to happen is when people start to curl it forward and lean it forward, is they tuck the pelvis as well and they lose that stretch here. So the other thing is with the curved spine, it doesn't really matter too much. I mean, I know there's lots of different evidence how you want to have your spine for lots of different things, but as a general kind of rule of thumb, just try and keep it relatively neutral. As a society, we tend to slouch quite often, whether we're on our phone or driving or at a desk. So it's just good practice just to kind of keep the shoulders back and think about lengthening that up. But what you do want to think about is where the pelvis and I suppose the bottom of the lower back is. So when you come into that hamstring stretch, instead of tucking it under, you want to think about reversing that. So really think about flicking that pelvis out. You don't want too much of a curve in that lower back, especially if you've got injuries or issues with that lower back. Keep it relatively neutral, but try not to tuck it under too much. If you don't have any contraindications, you can really kind of stick that out and you'll notice a massive difference with how that hamstring feels. So think about sticking that tailbone out and kind of bringing the top of the pelvic bones forward as well. So see how that goes for you. It could be that that just makes a massive difference. You might feel a little bit more of a stretch in that glute as well. And the next thing we're going to talk about is our foot position. So again, when people do hamstring stretches, a lot of the time they automatically flex their foot. And this is fine, but it's not really going to affect your hamstring. What you're going to find is you're going to get more of a stretch in your calf. So if you want to do the whole of the back of the leg in one, flex that foot, absolutely fine, not a problem. Doesn't make any difference to that hamstring. So if it's uncomfortable, if you can feel it pulling, it's probably the sciatic nerve that you're pulling on. So if you notice that it's super uncomfortable, just relax that foot down, think about that pelvis position, and you'll notice you get much more stretch into the muscle as opposed to kind of a sharp stabby pain in that nerve. So those are our most common mistakes.